Happy Christmas, Merry New Year, everyone. 2021 was kind of a booty year in general, but for music it wasn't all that bad. A lot of my favorite composers either went silent or otherwise didn't really deliver in the ways I expected, but that allowed a lot of people I had no expectations for at all to really take me by surprise and release some amazing tracks. So I'm going to show off 10 songs I loved dearly this year, and hope you'll all do the same. Now there isn't any real rhyme or reason motivating the picks, as you'll see they come from all sorts of different walks of life. The only real rule I'm going to put down is that I'll only pick one song per producer, because if I didn't, a certain two heroes would run away with almost all my list. Anyways, let's all kick back and have some fun. It's a celebration after all. Number 10 is Magic by Deco27, featuring Tanaka Minami. I shouldn't have to tell you all the Mogram is really something fantastic, and the end of the first phase brought with it some great tracks. For a while I was going back and forth on whether Magic or Haro was my favorite, but ultimately the depth of Magic as a piece of storytelling won at the game. Magic is terrifying, a look into the mind of abuse from the perspective of the abused. I think that Magic does visual storytelling better than most of the project, being second maybe only to weakness in the depth of messages and feelings it's able to convey with the PV alone. Another great point is its composition. Most of the song is poppy, of course, but the instrumentation shifts to include a choir and organ as the real nature of the cult reveals itself later on in the song. In the end, Magic manages the insane feat of conveying a profound sadness and horrible sense of tragedy while outwardly presenting sheer happiness. Magic is an amazing song and a wonderful piece of Mogram. No doubt the best thing that Deco did all year. Number 9 is Komusaki Nouta by Kazuki Yamamoto featuring Nagihara Suzuna. I want to take a moment to stress that Riot Music is probably my favorite musical thing on the internet right now. They're a group of singers that are extremely talented and cover Nico Nico Dogocore music while also releasing original songs. Komusaki Nouta is one of those, composed for the talent Nagihara Suzuna. The most striking thing about this song is that it plays to all the strengths of Suzuna's outstanding voice. Suzuna has a gentle and clear tone that perfectly fits power ballads like Komusaki Nouta. There's a polyphonic back and forth in the bridge that I think most clearly shows the strength of Suzuna's voice. It's truly breathtaking. But of course, I can only ever love something so much on composition alone, and the message of the song is, as well, lovely. In particular, I think the lyrics invoke a powerful sense of imagery. Komusaki Nouta doesn't tell a story, it paints you a picture of a wretched world, so that it can emphasize the light and the lasting power of hope therein. And by the end of the song, it even asks you to remember a certain word that my fellow Mekakushi lovers will hold quite dear to them. And so I too will ask you to remember happiness. Number 8 is Ghost by Dream Monster and Hoshimachi Suisei. I'm not gonna lie to you, this song strikes at something simple and raw emotionally, and that is undoubtedly due to the unique and breathtaking performance of Hoshimachi Suisei and her voice. She has a good range but lives a little lower in the register than a lot of her contemporaries, giving her this wonderful warmth in her tone, which when coupled with her amazing growl and grit in her voice make her one of my favorite voices in music right now. Like Komusaki Nouta, Ghost plays to the strengths of the vocalist. It's belty and gives a raw power through the performance that really shakes the soul. Compositionally, I also love how the piece switches up normal progressions, specifically in this case with the percussion. That drum roll in the chorus leading up to the Dancer in the Dark line really punches you like nothing else does. Getting into the lyrics, the song talks about misplaced identity and sincerity. I don't think that its message is particularly complex, which is the one thing that I think holds Ghost back a bit, but what it lacks in poeticism it makes up for with the strength of the vocal performance. The diamond in the rough proved that, just like always, she's stellar once again. Number 7 is KiSeki Not by Amane Kanata, featuring Hololive Generation 4. What can I say about this one? If you ask me who the most talented people in Hololive are, I say it's a tie between Tokino Sora and, more relevantly here, Amane Kanata. Now, let me be straight with you. Compositionally, I don't think that KiSeki Not particularly stands out. It's not a bad song by any means, it's totally fine, but I don't think that it's leaping off the page. I like how the snare switches to a march in the bridge, but generally speaking, it's a perfectly serviceable pop song and that's about it. No. What makes this song is the lyricism and the story and emotions behind it. The lyrics do the single best thing a group song can ever do, that being the use of the singer's names as lyrics in the song. It came out as a means of tempering pretty heavy sadness and emphasizing instead the wonderful memories you made in the past and the hope you should never give up in the future, all coming from the person who was most likely hurting most of all. I wouldn't say that KiSeki Not was the climax of the final arc of Gen 4 together. If anything, it was more like a denouement. It was a song that for many people was necessary at the time, and even now persists as a wonderful memory of what once was. Even if I think by and large the VTubers were a mistake, I won't say that they never made any art. Number 6 is Competes for Anything She's Kachidoki-san by Mambo P. On a lighter note, after something so emotional, Kachidoki-san is the single most joyous song of the year, and is in contention with Sweet Magic and Happy Synthesizer as one of the most joyous songs I have literally ever heard. The song is simple, stupid, and has more heart than most things on this earth. The song tells a simple story about a very stupid but very lovable girl named Kachidoki-san, who constantly challenges her friend to wild competitions as an excuse to spend time with him. By the end, the two were able to come clean with their feelings and join hands together in romance. The song employs one of my favorite storytelling strategies, and that's comedy before heart. The story that's told and the way that it's told is gut-breakingly funny, which predisposes the listener to care about the characters and their unfolding romance as the song goes on. It is impossible for me not to smile when listening to this song. The art is hilarious, Gumi's tuning is fantastic, and the song is the exact kind of thing that used to characterize Vocaloid back in the day. Nothing else on this list gives me such a wonderful feeling, and that's truly something special. I love it dearly. Number 5 is Poet by Nikki, featuring Tokuyami Toa. This one just really shouldn't be a surprise at all. Nikki is one of my all-time favorite producers who hasn't been particularly active in the past few years. That said, Palette was a wonderful surprise when I heard it this past spring. As has been a trend with these featured singers, I think that Nikki's composition, which is perfectly in his wheelhouse of heart-stopping rock ballads, perfectly suits Toa's outstanding alto voice. She has a full body to her voice that no one in Hololive can match, and it's put to work in this song. Nikki creates hope. That's why I love them so much. From Jitterdoll and Plus Reverse to Dependent and now with Palette, Nikki's music instills a powerful feeling of faith. Pick yourself back up again. Believe that there are good things in the future as long as you're willing to go out and seize them. In a world that is so often cold and unforgiving, with so many songs and stories trying to decry beauty in the world itself as something vile and ugly, we need more music like Palette, which in spite of all the grime, still chooses to be happy. I'd also like to give a special mention to the illustrator Kage, who blends Nikki's powerful words into a story about Toa herself being motivated day in and day out by the people that love her, and, crucially, the personality of Tokuyami Toa herself. Every part of the song works in tandem to create an experience that I think is really beautiful. Number 4 is Flower of Artless by Kazumura Tota, the best modern Vocaloid producer. There are, naturally, a few songs that I thought stood out more than Tota's compositions this year, but all in all, song to song, Kazumura Tota never misses. If I had let myself pick as many songs from producers as I wanted, pretty much every song that Kazumura Tota released this year would have been on the list. And I didn't count it by technicality, but Kazumura Tota's anniversary medley is probably in contention for the best thing to come out this year, no doubt. Which brings us to Flower of Artless. The song is a gorgeous ballad that talks in vague terms about love and guilt. The song has the speaker walk the thin line between loving someone and respecting their own freedom before it's too late. With Kazumura Tota, I almost feel her composition more than I hear it. Something about how she picks notes, how she tunes Vocaloid, just strikes deep in the soul. The best thing I can do to convey to you how wonderful and special this music is to read to you a small part of its words. At the other side of the blue that won't turn back, let's close our lips and cry. I don't know. Were you glad that I loved you? Don't be mad. In the afternoon where you lament with a fragile voice, I promise you, I'll never tell a grain of lie. Kazumura Tota is a better poet than almost anyone I know, a better composer than almost anyone I know, and someone that I truly think will last the test of time. Number 3 is Dry Flower by Yuri. Lots of flowers at the top of the list. Dry Flower is a simple song about someone reflecting on the loss of someone they hold dear. Compositionally, it's fine. It's a sad ballad and I really like the pre-chorus, but it's nothing out of this world. No. What makes Dry Flower so good, so wildly powerful that it's my third favorite song this year, is the performance. Dry Flower is a special kind of sadness that not many of these types of songs employ, and that's what I call powerful grief. Typically, sad songs like this will be low energy and breathy to emphasize the emotion. There's nothing wrong with this, it's the default for a reason. But there are rare few songs that take the opposite approach, attacking their choruses with power and growl. They don't flip into falsetto, they embrace the torrent of emotions within them and belt wildly, letting it all pour out. That distinction is exactly what I think makes Lemon by Kenshi Yonezu so great, and also why I think most covers of both of these songs don't really do it for me. They so often lack that power that characterizes them, and strikes at the heart in a dangerous way. While I generally think that, like the composition, the lyrics are only serviceable, I do think that the actual titular Dry Flowers are a great piece of imagery. They both show how grief never really goes away, but also that it's a feeling that will fade over time. I have, trust me, heard many, many sad ballads about death in my time, and Dry Flowers still managed to make me feel something new, something profound. And I think that's really special. Number 2 is The Musician by Porter Robinson. Definitely the most unexpected song on my list. In terms of genre, nothing else really sounds remotely similar to The Musician, and the song isn't even in Japanese. But, gasp, I can still like other things sometimes, and this song is breathtaking. Porter Robinson is a genius of electronic composition, and even if I'm not totally jazzed on his new album, it's wonderful that he got to make one in the first place, and there's definitely a number of tracks on it that I love. In particular, of course, The Musician. The song is about doubling down on your ideals and living a fulfilling life. Aspiring to live the way you want and follow your dreams is difficult, especially when the world around you tells you time and time again that your dreams aren't worth it and that you're a fool. Even so, though, even with everything holding you back, the composition and lyrics present something profound. The desire to live, to dream, and to be yourself is compelling and irresistible. It's calling, and I can't stop. Beyond the world, following your dreams will mean that you have to give up on many things yourself. You can live in comfort and safety, or you can jump off and try to be excellent. This song is not for everyone. Not everyone will feel the subject matter the way I do. I can totally understand the perspective that calls that way of life foolish or naive. They're probably not even wrong. But I think that the song is truly powerful and moving to anyone who's ever dared to dream of being something more. And coming from Porter Robinson, it only hits that much harder. Music like this doesn't come around very often. Appreciate it while it lasts. Before I reveal the top pick, I want to give 3 honorable mentions. First is The Third Heart, which definitely is my 11th favorite song this year and just barely didn't make it. Second is I Want Kitty Cats to Step on My Face, which is a really unintentionally powerful statement about how Vocaloid isn't dead. It's just a happy, dumb little song about wanting cats to step on you, but in a sea of hopeless music that usually tells you that the world sucks, this cat song is exactly what Vocaloid is all about. What it was always about. And I love that. And last is Aurelia, which sure as hell didn't come out this year, but is far and beyond one of the best things I heard this year. And now, number 1, If There Is Not Such a Life by Tsukuyomi. For those who don't know, Tsukuyomi is the name of Yuri Cannon's band, and If There's Not Such a Life rivals I Want to Be Your Heart in terms of my favorite thing Yuri Cannon's ever made. And I Want to Be Your Heart is my favorite Vocaloid song, period. The only single bad thing I can say about this piece of music is that I think it's a little bit too derivative of some Yuri Cannon's other tracks, particularly I Want to Be Your Heart. However, striking at that niche, it's doing everything perfectly and is saying something just as profound. The story tells a tale of a lesbian couple, focusing on one of the members coping and trying to get her life together after the other dies. That said, the song is much less concerned with the literal than it is the emotional. We don't learn how the girl died, because it just doesn't matter. What does matter instead is how the protagonist feels, and throughout the song we see them walk through their grief until ultimately arriving at a beautiful conclusion. At the start, their sorrow overwhelms them in spite of them trying to logic their way through their emotions. But by the end, they're able to look at their life and realize that even if the pain never truly goes away, and even if meeting and loving people means you'll eventually have to face the tragedy of their loss, that the pain is worth it for the joy brought by being with others. In 4 minutes, this song fully goes through the thesis of Neon Genesis Evangelion, and if that's not enough to sell ya, I don't know what is. I Can't Stop Hurting When I Think of You turns into You Will Always Be in My Thoughts. If There's Not Such a Life I Wouldn't Need to Hurt turns into If There's Not Such a Life I Never Would Have Loved. It's a mature and wonderful message about loss told through the masterful pen and composition of Yuri Cannon. In short, it's everything I look for in music and proudly what I call the best song of the year. I hope everyone had fun, and by all means share your favorite pieces of music this year in the comment section below. Otherwise, I wish everyone good luck in the coming year and every year to come. Until we meet again one day. Good night.